One of the biggest challenges folks in my community seem to face is how to deal with customer objections. Customers asking questions that you can't seem to answer. They're posing issues that you think are insurmountable. And when we start to dissect this, when we start to talk about what these objections are, I'm finding that most of them are what I call single level objections. And a single level objection is something that you can defuse with as little as one word. Let me give you an example. Have you presented a proposal or maybe bracketed a price range for a client and they say, oh my, that's a lot of money? That's a single level objection. How do we know? Because you can fix it with a one-word response. What's the one-word response? Yes. Now, you can be verbose and say, yes it is, or of course it is. But all you really have to do is agree with them. They are right, it is a lot of money compared to other things, compared to a soda pop. It's a lot of money. It may not be a lot of money compared to buying a building. It's somewhere in between. So yes, they're absolutely right, it is a lot of money. Objections are often the buyer's way, or even anybody in a conversation, it's their way of processing information. So the worst thing we can do is overreact to a single level objection. I've sat on many phone calls with salespeople and sat in the room when they talk to clients, and very often when the client says, oh my goodness, this is a lot of money, we immediately start explaining all the ways that we can reduce the price and do all of this when we never actually had to. They simply have to get used to it. Here's another objection that I processed with a salesperson one day. We presented the proposal and the client said, well, everybody else breaks the quote down for me. You've got lump sums in here. I don't understand this. Can you break it down for me? And the response is, well, yeah, of course other companies do that. Let me explain to you why we do it this way. It's a single level objection. It needs a response. It doesn't mean that you have to change what it is that you're doing. Another example, reviewing a proposal with a client, and the client says, oh, I see you've made a mistake here. Well, you can say, yes, that is a mistake. I can correct that for you. Or maybe you'll say, actually, I think that's a choice. Let me explain. Okay? If it was a choice, if you indeed put it in there and the client is calling it out, if your reaction is, oh my God, they don't like my proposal, I need to backpedal, okay? You're missing the whole point. It's a single level objection. Acknowledge it, move on. The better you are at handling them, okay, the easier it'll be for you to keep the conversation moving, keep it on track, and be talking about the right things. So you agree, and then you just fade back and move on to the next thing. You can agree, and then you can pivot, which is saying, yes, let me explain this, or you can counter and explain. There's nothing wrong with telling a client, yes, I understand why you called that out, but let me explain why it shouldn't be an issue. Remember, a single level objection we can usually diffuse with one word or one clear explanation, and then you move on. If you dwell on it, you're going to make it a bigger objection than it actually is. Hey, and before you leave, go down to the comments section. I bet you've got a great example of a single level objection that you just realized was a single level objection. Share it with us. Let's all learn how to handle these better. Let's help the community out. Share something.